In today's episode, an elderly woman's dog is attacked while walking beside a lake in Florida. Despite the alligator being nearly double her size, the woman jumps in between the alligator and her dog. What happened next was one of the most gruesome alligator attacks in Florida's history. Hit that like button and subscribe right now. This is the terrifying final minutes of Gloria's Surge, eaten alive by a massive gator. Welcome to Final Affliction. Florida is famous around the world for their alligators. It is theorized that they live in almost all freshwater bodies in the state. In fact, it is believed that there are roughly 1.25 million of the animals living in Florida. Their populations are so big that interactions between humans and alligators are fairly common. Since 1948, there have been over 450 reported attacks, and this number is set to rise, especially when people take their small pets to the alligator's home. We have all heard the inspiring stories of animals saving humans, from whales that protect swimmers from sharks, or dogs protecting their owners from dangerous animals. What most people fail to realize is that humans will usually do the same for their pets, even to their own peril. Many pet owners would do anything for their animals, and there are stories across the world of people going above and beyond for their beloved furry friends. Humans are surprisingly ready to risk their lives for their pets, and some have even made the ultimate sacrifice in the hopes of saving their tiny family members. The Floridian retirement complex known as Spanish Lakes hit the headlines in 2023 for all the wrong reasons. These retirement homes prided themselves on keeping their residents happy and active, with a wide range of activities for them to pick from, including swimming and golf. In addition, they boast 24 lakes on their property for the residents to sail on or simply walk around during their daily activities. While these lakes were created to help the mental and physical health of the people living there, they never thought that something could be living in them. Something that was waiting to snack on some retirees. In February 2023, Gloria Surge had been living at Spanish Lakes for some time. She knew the area very well and had a few friends within the small community in Florida where they would all keep an eye on each other. Despite the people that she knew, her favorite companion was undoubtedly her small dog named Trooper. He had been living with her since she moved into the complex, and she enjoyed being able to take him for walks in such a beautifully scenic place, something that she was rarely able to do when she lived alone. After her husband died, she decided that it would be best for her to move in around other people rather than live in the isolation that widowhood tends to accompany. She was grateful to have such a well-behaved dog to keep her company during her days and was excited to take him out on that fateful day. Although they say that a breath of fresh air is good for you, Gloria sadly didn't know what awaited her as she set out for her daily dog walk. That afternoon, Gloria left her apartment as usual with Trooper running ahead of her on the leash. She planned to walk around the lakes nearest her home, as she decided that they would be the most beautiful and it would be easy for her to return home if she started to feel tired. She set off, determined to make it around the first lake, taking in her surroundings and feeling particularly happy to be living amongst such stunning natural scenery. She waved to some of her neighbors as she got closer to the water's edge, looking across to the other side and readying herself for the long walk ahead. In her increasingly old age, she had been finding it more and more difficult to complete an entire lap of the lake. But Trooper's enthusiasm and love of being outdoors fueled her to try harder each day. As she slowly made her way around the lake, she had no idea that she was being watched from a distance. 100 feet away from her, on the other side of the water, a 10-foot alligator had spotted the pair walking close to the edge and decided that one of them would make an easy target. It clambered into the murky water and began to stalk Gloria and Trooper, who continued with their walk, oblivious to what was watching them. It stealthily approached them, but hung back just enough to stay out of sight, watching the pensioner and her dog as they continued their leisurely afternoon. It waited for its best moment and then leapt from the water, trying to grab onto Trooper and drag him into the water. but Gloria wouldn't allow it. She now had to decide who would survive this attack, her dog or herself. As Gloria saw the huge beast run at her from the water, she knew what she had to do. Her tiny dog was oblivious to the attack as she swung him out of the way of the alligator's jaws and threw him away from danger, but they weren't safe yet. Seeing that its initial target had been pulled away from its grasp, the reptile turned on Gloria instead, seizing her by the leg and dragging her to the ground. She screamed out for help as she was quickly dragged into the water, waving her arms desperately to catch the attention of any of her nearby neighbors. The huge alligator had a firm grip on her leg and gave no hint of letting go while she was still alive. She knew she only had a limited amount of time before it would be too late. Trooper was barking viciously on the grass as he watched his owner slip under the water, but there was nothing that such a small dog could do to help. Ultimately, Gloria had saved her dog's life by sacrificing her own. One of her neighbors, 76-year-old Carol Thomas, overheard the commotion and saw Gloria being pulled into the water by an alligator nearly twice her size. Panicking, the retiree quickly called the police. Carol ran outside while holding the phone and grabbed a pole from her garden as she tried to help. When she got there, she felt as though her heart had stopped as the woman in the water was no longer moving, only floating on the surface as she was being tugged and pulled by the alligator. Carol began to maneuver the pole towards Gloria, hoping against hope that she could grab it and then be pulled to safety, but sadly it was already too late. Gloria was dead, and the alligator quickly snatched away her body, leaving Carol to watch as the body was pulled under the murky water.
911, there's a woman in the lake. The alligator's got her. An alligator has a woman. It's a huge gator. It's huge. Can you pull her under? Yes. Oh, no. I was trying to stick a pole out for her. Okay. She's gone.
When the authorities arrived, there was a crowd of people around the lake as other people living in the complex came to learn of the terrible event that had happened on their doorsteps. They were terrified. They walked the same path every day and were thinking about how it could have been any one of them. They had no idea there was even an alligator in their lake and were shocked that no one had ever noticed such a large beast sharing the same area as them. Shortly after her death, Gloria's body was recovered from the water, her injuries extensive across her entire body, as the alligator attempted to begin to eat her before she was brought out of the water. There was only one thing left to do: capture the alligator. Wildlife experts were sent to find the animal and bring it from the lake so that they could decide what to do with it. After a long search, they found it hiding at the bottom of the lake, its belly full. After it was captured, the experts were able to measure the massive animal at 10 feet long. After measuring the gator, they took it away to be killed, as it was decided that an animal that size could not continue living in the lake, certainly not after it had begun to attack the residents of the retirement complex. The owners of the complex then began an extermination effort to make sure that their residents were safe. No one would want to leave their family members in their care if they knew there was a risk of them suffering the same fate as Gloria. They were able to clear as many of the lakes as possible and relocated all of the other reptiles that they found. Unfortunately for Gloria, she was the third alligator victim in Florida in the last 6 months, leading authorities to warn locals to stay away from large bodies of water, especially when walking with their pets. Gloria proved to everyone what people would do to save their animals. Luckily for Trooper, he survived the whole ordeal and was eventually sent to live with Gloria's family, his life saved from the jaws of an alligator by a woman who would protect him up until her very last breath, up until her terrifying final affliction.